This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Hello, football fans, and welcome to the Onside Kick. My name is Ricky Widmer, and as always, I'm joined by the Mark Weber.
Dub them E's.
And today we have a special guest, not just Mark Weber, but we have Mike Rankin from Behind the Pen in the studio.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's an honor.
How's it going?
Absolutely fantastic. You're welcome.
Yeah, and he's saying you're welcome because you can see us on video. I'm going to wave. Mark's
Is that why he's saying you're welcome?
Yeah,
I was a little confused by the you're welcome.
He always says you're welcome. For those of you on SoundCloud, Mike always says you're welcome when you can see his beautiful face on
Check
YouTube.
us out on
as he
YouTube.
says.
Yeah. Here's the question, though. Mike, have you ever been on this side of the table?
I have once for a Patreon.
Yeah,
recording.
that was it.
That makes
was it.
sense.
He's never been on this side of the table with me. Because I've always done a
This is
podcast
gonna
when
be
you're on
interesting.
Behind the
We'll
Pen.
see what happens.
And this is the first time you two have actually met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what the thing is, too? Onside Kick, MVP Original, you guys are the founding members of this show.
Yeah,
and
I typically don't like to meet my employees if I don't have to.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I signed the checks and I mail them out. I don't know if they get to you,
Mark
but I
puts
mail
his
them
name
out.
on there.
I have not received one yet. I also blame Ricky because
Hey, man, that's how Mark
always
rolls.
Ricky's fault.
It's always Ricky's fault. Apparently, it's like that in the
Naturally,
comment section
yeah.
too. But today is a great day because we are finishing up our previews for the NFL season. Then we can get back into real football topics and not have to preview everything. But we've got the AFC East this week, basically the last time, or I hope it's the last time, we will ever have to touch Deflategate ever again, as we hope this is the end of it. But if you're new to the podcast, this is how we do the previews. We're going to start with the baddies from last year. So we're going to start with the Dolphins, end with the Patriots. We'll talk about the Bills and Jets in between. In the end, we'll give our prediction, who we think can win the division, who can go to the playoffs, and why. And then we'll close up shop from there. But let's start with the Miami Dolphins, the baddie from last year. And I only say the baddie because you guys had the worst record in the AFC East. And what I usually like to do is I like to throw out the free agents that this team gained and lost. The big losses, Olivier Vernon, he's now with the Giants. Lamar Miller, he's in Houston. Derek Shelby, he's now in Hotlanta. Some of the guys they gained. You got Bushrod from the Bears, I guess that's a plus. Mario Williams from the Bills, I guess that's a plus. Andre Branch from the Jags, I guess that's a plus. This team didn't really gain a lot via free agency. However, they could have gotten one of the biggest steals in the draft with Laramie Tunsil.
I like it. You know, yes, he smoked a little bit of weed.
I was expecting you to make your joke there.
He smoked a ton of weed.
A tons of weed.
A tons of weed. And it was awful timing. I mean, that just kind of goes to the media nowadays with the way you can just destroy somebody in an instant.
Yeah.
At just the right time.
It was just such an odd thing that went down with the whole Larry Tunsil thing because he went into the draft as the number one projected player, and literally the second the draft started, this video of him with a gas mask gets posted on his Twitter.
I believe it was, 12 minutes before the draft started?
And obviously it wased him who did it.
No. Well,
So,
why would you do that
That's
to
the thing.
yourself?
Right, so somebody
He
had it out
really
for him.
wanted to play in Miami.
Oh, that's
Tannehill's are there. Where else are you going to
Well,
go?
everyone loves the Tannehills.
Everyone does.
But I mean, I say that they could have gotten one of the biggest steals because if he actually pans out, you're getting a number one pick at what? They picked
13.
around
13.
What, 13? Yeah.
Yep.
You're getting a number one caliber pick outside the top 10.
And it's exactly what you need right now. You need to give weapons to Tannehill and keep him on his feet, make sure he's healthy, and getting Tunsil is going to be one of the best additions you can make to the offensive line. And also remember, was not the first offensive lineman taken in the draft. So because of that, he might just kind of let it get to him, but I think it puts that chip on his shoulder. We're constantly talking about the chips that are on various players' shoulders, but it really helps out for a lot of these guys. And I think it just pushes him to be a little bit better, to just not let guys get past him, not let people hit his quarterback. He's in a good team. He's on a good, part of a good system. I don't want to get too crazy about these Miami Dolphins right now. But this was a pretty good spot to go. I mean, you could have gone here, or you could have gone to, I don't know, San Diego. Not excited about that. Some of your other options, like San Francisco, not excited about that. This was probably if he wasn't going to, of course, go to the Cowboys, this is one of the better teams he could have been a part of.
Well, and I say that I'm going to piggyback off that. And the thing that makes this a great situation is this is a team coming in with a new head coach, new offensive, I'm going to say offensive mindset, because that's where Adam Gase, that's what he does best, is the offensive side of the football. Coming from Denver, where he worked with the Denver Broncos, then coming in working with John Fox with the Chicago Bears. I believe he work with John Fox both in Denver and Chicago? So coming from that John Fox coaching tree, he's going to be able to work with this young guy Tunsil. But to me, I think this is more important I believe Brandon did the Miami Dolphins season preview for us. We got a comment from a Miami Dolphin fan that's like, oh, Tannehill is shit. Well, maybe this is the year where Tannehill can actually have somebody to work with who just got done working with Jay Cutler, and Jay didn't look bad with Adam Gase. Like I rag on Jay Cutler for everything, but he didn't have the worst season last year with Adam Gase. Yeah.
And I just want to piggyback a little bit off of what Mark was saying.
We're just piggybacking all over the place.
I mean, that's how it is here in MVP. We piggyback off each other. So what you said about trying to keep Ryan Tannehill on his feet that's it. That's the truth right there. You need to be able to have a solid line in front of you because you want your quarterback to be able to sit in the pocket like the type of player Ryan Tannehill is. And just off of what you said with Adam Gase, I think he's going to fit really well here in Miami, and I think Ryan Tannehill is going to benefit a lot from Adam Gase, especially with the play style that he calls. It's conservative. You see a lot of, especially with the Bears last year, easy throws. He's got his checkdowns, and he's still got some weapons on the outside. It's just we got to see if this is the guy you want to build around in Ryan Tannehill. Is he going to be more than mediocre? Who knows? Maybe the relationship there helps. He
lost quite a bit. I mean, you could say what you want for Greg Jennings, who actually retired from the game of football this week. You can say that when I was talking to Brandon about it, Brandon was like, oh, well, he's been retired for 3 years now, basically making fun of his success on the field. But you got to look at what's around Ryan Tannehill. I wouldn't be that excited if I'm a Dolphins fan because you've got Lamar Miller, like I said, he's now in Houston. Now you've basically, your two running backs are Jay Ajayi and Arian Foster, which Foster coming in, you basically traded Lamar Miller for Arian Foster. Right, that's what you did. Yeah, and then Rashard Matthews, he's no longer on the team. He's in Tennessee. That's all I wanted to say. Mike, take it.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that running back situation. And a lot of the things that go along with the Adam Gase offense is to be able to play off that run game. You don't have consistent running backs, then you're going to hurt Tannehill in the long run.
Fortunately, Tannehill's going to be a more capable quarterback than falling apart Peyton Manning. Because Adam Gase didn't really work with Peyton Manning at his peak. He didn't get that luxury there. He got to work with Jay Cutler's best season of his career.
Statistically.
But at the same time, he wasn't going out there and letting Jay unleash the dragon out there.
No, he's working here.
Yeah, he's working with conservative quarterbacks. And that's going to work to the advantage because quick throws, you're not going to let the opposing team get in your face all the time. So because of that, they're going to want to stop that. Opens up the run a little bit. You don't need the best running backs right now. And Arian Foster was once the best running back in the league, essentially. Debatable, but he's going to be at least top 3. If he's healthy, he's had plenty of time to rest. So this could work really well. Pair that up with Parker. Kenny Stills I'm not too excited about. But, of course, Jarvis Landry. You got Cameron out there. You've got options for quick throws to just slowly, methodically move down the field.
Well,
this can be not a great team, but this can be a good middle-of-the-road team.
And, I mean, right now, if I'm looking at ourlads.com, which I love for up-to-date kind of depth charts for each team, the top 3 starters for wide receiver they're saying that Devonta Parker is going to be on the left. You've got Kenny Stills on the the right side. And then Landry's going to be in the slot. Those are your first 3 starting wide receivers.
Could be worse.
Well, it could be worse. To me, I want to see a lot of Devonta Parker because last season I expected a lot out of him in general because I was like, okay, kid coming out of Louisville, man, he's going to be one of the top receivers. And I never saw anything. I drafted him in fantasy.
You wanted him on the Vikings.
I fell off of it because it's like, well, he's not doing anything in Miami. So if the wide receivers and the running backs can just click, maybe that can be enough for Tannehill. And the one thing I do want to mention with the running backs is maybe this year they use a kind of running back by committee with Foster and Ajay. And they did draft Kenyon Drake, who was a good backup in Alabama. Maybe try to work him into the rotation as the season goes on so that eventually it's like, okay, we can get rid of Arian Foster and now Kenyon Drake is right behind Ajay or even the starter next year.
I think something that kind of needs to at least be thought about here is this defense and if they can perform at the level that they probably should. Obviously missing a huge part out there. Big contracts can pull players away easily, but still having Sue, still having Cam Wake, Kiko Alonso, you hope that he can bounce back to what he should be. But there are some good parts here, and it doesn't make sense why a quarterback like Tom Brady shouldn't be scared out of his life. We saw Von Miller just hit him time after time and time, get him on the ground. There's no reason why Wake and Sue can't do the exact same thing.
Well, and the thing you got to look at is the biggest loss that they had defensively, like I mentioned before, was Olivier Vernon. You basically lose him, but tag in Mario Williams. And to me, Mario Williams is going to be the key because how is he going to do when you have Sue and Cameron Wake are getting most of the double teams? Can Mario Williams then kind of capitalize? Because if Sue and Wake are getting double teams, that's 4 out of your offensive linemen for 2 people. What can other people not Sue and not Wake do for this defense?
Yeah, with the Dolphins, it's an interesting situation because how much are you going to rely on their defense to put them in situations where their offense can succeed? Real quick on the offense before I jump to my defensive thoughts because, boy, there are some there on the Dolphins side. With Jarvis Landry, I think he's got to play a huge role in this offense. I think he's got to be Mr. Consistency. I think last season Tannehill developed a decent repertoire with him.
He was a 1,000-yard receiver last year.
That's pretty decent. But on the defensive side, they really focused early. I know they couldn't pass on Laramie Tunsil in the draft. In the second round, Xavier Howard, pretty good draft pick, cornerback. So they project him to turn out to be something pretty special. You look at that, that's something to be excited about. And you mentioned it, Mark, their front defensive line. You invested a lot of money in these guys. So they got to come through, especially Ndamukong Mario Williams. Look, it's tough playing in that Miami Heat as a defensive lineman. So you got to keep rotating players, and it's just the consistency. Is it going to be there? Because it's going to be huge.
And one of the last things I kind of want to touch on before we move on into the Buffalo Bills is kind of their schedule a little bit. And the Dolphins are going to have some games that they can capitalize on, but I look at their 7 games before the bye are the ones I like to focus on because you've got games like, to me, at Seattle, at Cincinnati, at home against the Steelers. Those aren't going to be wins. I don't see them being wins. If you win one of those games, it's a shocker. But you're playing the Patriots without Tom Brady. Very winnable game now, even though it's in Foxborough, because Tom Brady's not playing. You play the Browns, the Titans, 2 teams I think you can win, and then a toss-up game against the Bills. If you can jump out to, like I have them, 4-3, I think that'd be positive going into your bye before you have to play Tom Brady week 17, the Bills again week 17. You have to play the Cardinals. You have to play a more improved Ravens team as well. If you can capitalize on those first 7, that'll set you up positively for the rest of the season.
Are they a playoff team? Probably not. I'm going to go and say no.
I've got them 8-8 right now.
Well,
8-8.
That's like being the 8th seed.
Right now I have them 3rd. They're the 9th seeded team in the AFC with my wins and losses now.
I mean, they got something to build on, I guess. 8-8, I never liked as a football fan. And my Chicago Bears might finish 8-8
it's purgatory. It's basically football purgatory.
But that's what the Dolphins kind of need to be right now. They need to be a team that shows some life. but isn't going to really compete with the big boys just yet.
Like the Rams last year?
Kind of, yeah, except for the Rams are taking steps backwards right now.
True.
But the Dolphins need to just kind of get this going, keep a good defense, figure out. I mean, this right here is the season. It's not a make or break necessarily, but they got to get an answer out of Tannehill. Is he the real deal? Is he actually going to be around for the franchise for all of his career? Are we looking at somebody else? Do we need to start thinking about it? Because they keep giving him everything that they can, and eventually he's got to be the guy who shows up, takes the reins, and gets it done. If anybody can do it, it's this head coach, Adam Gase. That's going to be, there's no excuses at this point.
We'll see if Gase can compensate for his skill set. I mean, isn't Tannehill more of like a college type of option quarterback?
I mean, he came out of a Texas A&M system where it was, did he have the potential to be something? I thought so. But it's kind of been something where in Miami he just hasn't had a lot to work with. Like he hasn't had the lucky like just luck in general to be placed with a guy who can develop him. Maybe Adam Gase can be that guy. But I want to move to Buffalo. We've spent enough time with Miami, probably a little more than we should. But this Buffalo team, I look at what they gained. I looked at what they lost. Free agency, you keep Cordy Glenn, offensive tackle, franchise tagged him. You bring back Richie Incognito. But other than that, you lose a lot. Percy Harvin is gone. You've got Leotis McKelvin is now gone. Mario Williams is gone. You have Bobby Dixon is gone. There is a lot more guys that you lost than you brought in. The win for additions with the Bills came from their draft. Bringing in a guy like Shaq Lawson, even though he has some injury questions coming in because of a surgery he had.
He should be fine.
You also get Reggie Ragland in the second round,
nice pick.
who I thought was a first-round talent. You also get Adolphus Washington basically hitting on inside, outside line, and second level of your defense. And then you go take a guy like Cardell Jones saying, hey, we got Tyrod Taylor right now, who had a pretty good season last year.
Yeah.
Surprised a lot. And, we can have Cardell Jones maybe develop underneath him, but this is a season where I say is the most important for the Bills because they got to make the playoffs or else Rex is gone.
Yeah, and it's very likely that Rex is, in fact, gone.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of good teams in the AFC. There always are a lot of good teams in the AFC. So there's a lot of competition out there. Honestly, if the Bills need to kind of set their goal, it's winning the division. And it's not even the stretch goal. That is the goal you need to make because if you lose it to the Patriots, if you somehow find a way to lose it to the Jets or the Dolphins, I'm sorry, but you're not getting in. It's that simple. You're not going to get in as a wild card. Right. There's too many good teams in the AFC North, for example. Too many possibilities in the AFC West. So you really have to go out there and win it yourself. The thing for this team is this defense is getting really good.
Mm-hmm.
This run game is still really good. I don't care if Tyrod Taylor is the real deal or not. I don't need to be convinced about Tyrod Taylor.
So we're not talking
he needs to just do enough.
We're not talking like we mentioned last week where once is a fluke, 2 times is a this, 3 times a pattern. He just needs to do enough out there.
I don't think that Tyrod Taylor needs to be great because this is the best, at least one of the best running games in the NFL last year.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that going. You've got a really good defense. No one here is questioning whether Rex Ryan knows how to get defense going.
He and his crazy brother.
He just needs to be okay.
That's a Rex Ryan team, though. I mean, look at they had success in New York with Mark Sanchez, and some of you may be saying, "Well, Ricky, Mark Sanchez is a good quarterback." Nah, it was that defense in New York that helped carry that team. Mark Sanchez just did enough to get them to back-to-back AFC title games. You can sit where you want on Mark Sanchez. I don't think he's that great of a quarterback, but he just needs to do enough. And I mean, look what you mentioned about other teams. The Steelers and Bengals are going to be playoff viable. Houston and Indy, that's 4 right there. And then I'm going to put the Raiders in that. So you have virtually, let's take 2 of those out because 2 of them are going to win their division. That's 3 other teams you got to fight with for 2 playoff spots.
And Denver, too. Denver's going to be right back in the thick of things.
Are they, though? Because,
that's
Mark
not what we're talking
Sanchez
about.
and
But
I know.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to be among the playoff teams.
I've got them as a 6-10 season. Just throwing it out there.
Is that because of
That's because
he hates Mark Sanchez.
And they're saying Trevor Siemian might be the starter week 1. If he's the starter, then sub 500.
That's a problem for them to worry about.
But
we don't have to worry about that. Yeah, well, with Buffalo, I'm really I need to see something from Buffalo because it seems like they're always coming up short. And it's kind of disheartening because it's always the Patriots every year.
For like 5 years, this team is supposed to have been the team that would come up and do something great.
JP Lossman, baby, let's do it. No, I'm a believer in Tyrod Taylor. I think he showed a lot last year. Definitely better than EJ Manuel, 100%. Tyrod Taylor, he's athletic. He makes the big play. He's got a great arm. Sammy Watkins is hurt, but he should be fine come the start of the season. He's a great weapon. LeSean McCoy is still going to dominate that running game. It's the defense that's going to really make an impact on this Buffalo Bills team. Rex Ryan, you know how he is with his exotic blitz looks and the way he loves his athletic defense. So I'm looking forward to that. But at the same time, it seems like they're always just one step away from being that team to make the playoffs.
In order to make the playoffs, and I'm only doing this because, as I said, I kind of went through my kind of early wins and losses for every team. Of course, there's like minute ones that may change. I may tweak some things, and it may switch up the bottom. But with the Bills, I have them right now sitting at 10-6. That's good enough.
Good enough?
That's good enough for 8th. That's good enough for 8th in the AFC. Do I have some teams probably too high and too low? Yes, that's where things are going to change.
10-6 puts you in the thick of it. It's not good enough, though.
But I'm going to say this. In order to make the playoffs, what I feel Buffalo will need to do, because games like the Cardinals, the Patriots with Tom Brady, the Seahawks, the Bengals, I'll even put the Raiders because I'm kind of high on them this year. Those are losses. Maybe the Raiders one's a toss-up, but Cardinals, Brady, Seahawks, and Bengals, those are all losses for sure. I don't see you winning those games. You have to go into your division and say, we got to beat Garoppolo, we've got to sweep the Jets, and we've got to sweep the Dolphins. If we can go 5-1 in the division and only lose to Brady, that'll set us up huge to be able to go into the playoffs. And then if we can steal a game from a Cardinals, Cincinnati, Seattle, so be it.
I just want to reinforce the point that this Buffalo Bills team had a really good draft. Like, I just want to make that clear.
And that's why Rex Ryan hit what is his strength.
Yeah.
Well, this is the season for him. He has to do it right now. He knows that he's going all in. The advantage that the Buffalo Bills have, there are not many coaches out there like Rex Ryan who can motivate his team on his own. We're talking about, the Ray Lewis last ride in Baltimore to win a Super Bowl, announcing it's going to happen.
Win it for the
and
Gipper.
it goes and happen. This is one of those situations where the team is going to say, we know Rex Ryan's getting fired if we don't make it to the playoffs. That's going to be the kind of thing that might motivate them to get it done. Like I said, I think they pretty much have to win the division if they're going to want to get into the playoffs. I don't know if I see it happening. The other interesting thing I just want to throw out there, I don't even care if it gets discussed, EJ Manuel, bubble, cut watch, might happen. I'm expecting.
I could see it because if Tyrod Taylor plays well and if Cardell Jones
You've got
proves
three
that
of the
he
same
can be
kind
viable,
of quarterback.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have drafted Cardell Jones if you didn't think that he would be able to either replace EJ Manuel or be a quality starter in 2 to 3 years.
I really like Tyrod Taylor. I'm a believer.
Tyrod came on, and I would like to see one more solid season. I'm not going to say flash and it has to be amazing. I want to see one more solid season before I totally buy in on Tyrod.
Before you crown his ass?
Yeah, he just kind of. Can we take a second?
Absolutely.
I totally forgot at the beginning of the podcast. We're going to take a second here, middle of the podcast. We got to remember the great. I'm going to say the great because he played for my Minnesota Vikings, Dennis Green.
Yep.
Passed away this week.
Solid coach, solid player. Very, very well known in internet meme territory.
And Coors Light commercials.
Yeah, exactly. But the man commanded a lot of respect. Got a lot of respect from various players and media in the NFL.
Dennis Green, Coach Green, holds a special place in my heart. He was the coach of my team for the better half of a decade. He was the coach that was there when I fell in love with my Vikings. So It's
when
one
you
of those
made a
things
really
where
bad
it's like,
decision.
You always remember your first. And I will say this: I still remember the season he got fired from Minnesota. We didn't make the playoffs because at the time it was okay to like push a receiver out of bounds.
Was this against the Cardinals?
This was against the Cardinals.
I remember this game.
Pushed him out of bounds. We didn't score the touchdown.
Oh, that was heartbreaking. I was rooting for the Vikings that year. I was.
And then he got fired that year.
Yeah, Dennis Green is a recognizable name in the world of the NFL and football in general. I remember I don't personally remember, but I know that he was a coach for Northwestern when he first came up, and Northwestern's one of my favorite colleges.
That was before my lifetime.
It was. So, looking back at Dennis Green's career, I think it was a positive one. And everybody's going to remember that
We are who
tirade.
they thought they were.
That was just epic.
It was a great game, though. That was a great game.
Great game. I mean, that's what the Bears.
Mark's got a huge smile on his face because the Bears
It was a
won.
great season.
How'd that season end, Mark?
I don't remember.
No Super Bowl happened that year?
No, Super Bowl happened. I remember Devin Hester returning a kickoff for a touchdown the first time in NFL
Then
history.
after that's a blank? Nothing?
I think that was the end of the game.
It was, I think, and we're not even going to go back to that because it's depressing.
But is there anything about the Bills that we have to touch before we go on?
The thing about the Bills is just that they need to take advantage of this defense being good. They need to do what Rex Ryan teams do, control, have that game management, because you just run the ball really well. You don't make dumb decisions with your quarterback, and then you destroy quarterbacks on the other side. That's what you need to do. I mean, it's pretty simple.
I'm going to say something. This is going for the Bills, but it's going to kind of bridge us over into the next team we'll talk about in the Jets. If I am Rex Ryan and the Bills, I am praying to God a deal does not get done between Fitzmagic and the Jets. The reason being, right now, like I said, I've got the Bills 4-2 in the division because I gave the Dolphins one late win. Because I'm like, the Dolphins may be able to steal one. The Jets with Geno Smith, I don't think they got a chance against the Bills. However, if Fitzmagic comes back with the addition of Matt Forte and Brandon Marshall still on the
they're
outside,
a playoff team.
Well, not just that, it's you could get swept by the Jets. So if I'm Rex Ryan, I am praying to God that Fitzmagic does not sign with the Jets.